Should we start or should we wait? Okay. Okay. Jai Jinendra, everybody. This is Swanubhuti Jain, and today the topic of our discussion is what is in it for me? Now, this question is with regards to the significance of spiritual studies. Why is it really necessary? So, to start with, I'd like to understand one thing. We will divide this entire topic into three parts. The part where the question begins is what. We will handle that a little later. In it, which is the spiritual studies, that's the second part. And the third part is for me. So three parts of the entire discussion today. Now, if I were to ask you a question, and if you can't speak, unmute yourself and speak, you can provide the answer in the chat box, or, you can think about it. Who is your favorite hero? Anybody? I'm sure some people will talk about actors. Some people probably might talk about some leaders, politicians, reformers. So many people that we can think of. But do we ever realize, some people are saying my dad, Amitabh Bachchan. Why nobody ever said, I am my favorite hero? Who is a hero? And when I say hero, it is gender neutral, okay? I mean, it's the protagonist that we are talking about. The hero is whose story, it's a hero's journey, whose story you're following, with whom you relate. You see yourself, in the shoes of that person. And you associate yourself with the wins and losses. So if we have to actually think about this world and whom do we really relate with or follow totally, or are concerned with the happinesses or sorrows of, who is that hero? Where is the center of the world? Isn't it us? Isn't it me? Why I am not my favorite hero? I mean, we know, but we don't know. Whose sorrows or happinesses are you concerned about? The ones that you're following on maybe your social media, or you have read about? So, ideally speaking, the journey which matters to me, that hero which has a story, that's me. I am not static. I am constantly moving. I'm moving in time. This is a journey. I take birth, I grow up. I grow up. I don't know. Does the journey end with the end of this life? Depends. Who is that hero you are associating with? Okay, now, just imagine for a moment, if you are to, go for a movie, and the movie starts. You are keen to identify who the hero is, the known face, the protagonist. When you identify him, do you identify him with that specific person, or his friends, or his parents, or his siblings, or his wealth, or his clothes? Who? You purely look at the hero, where all the other things associated with him take a backseat. He may be rich or poor. You want to see him happy. Okay, what matters at the end of the movie? What is the ending that we are looking forward to? You want the hero to be happy, happily ever after? Isn't that the word that you would love to see in the end? because you're relating to that person now? Or is it that you want to see him wealthy at the end of the movie? Wealthy and depressed. Does that suffice? Or you want to see him very powerful, but in a lot of stress? Or do you want to see the ending of the hero with a lot of fame, but he's so insecure and he's lonely? So there are two things that we are talking about right now here. One is the hero. So who is that hero? We need to identify that first. The real hero of my life, the real hero who matters. Second part that we need to look at is that in the journey of this hero, whether it is on screen or here, where I myself exist, what ending do you want to see on screen? If the ending that you want to see on screen is happily ever after and not happily till he dies, or happily till he gets married, or happily till he has kids, then why in our own lives, our own, all the goals and our existence, you look at the end of the existence as culminating into that wealth, fame, or power, and then it's done and dusted, probably. Don't we get dusted? So let's think about these two things very seriously. First thing first, my hero, can it be this human form? Because it depends a lot about when you ask the question, what is in it for me? Who is that me you are talking about? Who? So if we check right now in our own case that I am that human form which has the body, but then the ending of this human form is going to be that probably death, isn't it? Because the body will perish. It will be done and dusted. Or I am the one which has this, possessions, the wealth, the belongings, the relations, the fame, the power that you think you have earned in this life. If that was the case, again, that will come to an end with the body when it is perishing one day. So the first and foremost responsibility, duty of us towards ourselves is to identify who is this hero of my life. And that hero has to be me, the spirit. That is me whose journey won't end with this human life. And if that is going to be me, then I need to understand that. So what is spiritual studies? To identify, it begins with the identification that I am a spirit, I am a soul, I am intangible. I am not that body that everybody associates with or looks at in the mirror and thinks he or she is. Your journey won't end with the end of this life. Hence the spiritual studies. Because don't you want to really understand where have you come from? Where are you really headed? And what's in this human life for you? In fact, that should be a bigger question. Talking about, coming to the next part, that when you talk about what is another very important aspect that we all are concerned with. So that what in our lives for which we live, from the moment we open our eyes and we have been motivated and taught and educated, and where you feel that you are successful. What is that? So how are we brought up? We are brought up to be successful in everything. You should lead. You should be at the top. At the top of what? Should be the next question. So here, we all want to be successful. And if I were to just ask you randomly, quickly, if you would want to, put in the chat box, what is your criteria of success? So I am this, whatever I am, my hero. and I want to see the hero successful. What would be the criteria of success in our lives? The criteria that we, teach our, or raise our kids uh, to evaluate themselves in life. It circulates around three things most of the times, let me tell you. I'm fortunately, unfortunately, actually unfortunately, in the world, if somebody were to ask you to introduce yourself, would somebody ever say, oh, uh, you know, I'm happy? Who are you? I'm happy? No. You would either associate yourself with your education. So the first 20 years of your life, you will spend. But that education will perish with the body, isn't it? You won't remember your medical science. Have you ever met a doctor who says that, in my previous life, I was a doctor, hence I can treat you now? None of it will be of any use. So think about anything else that you associate with. And you think you will be successful because of that in this life. So we feel that in this certain life, either if I am wealthy, or if I have this fame, or if I become very powerful, all the great leaders of the world who were pursuing leadership of the world in some or the other form, they all wanted fame. They wanted power. They wanted their name to live. So we think the criteria of success is either of these three things, but again, we fail to understand that these three will perish with this human form, with human life. If your name was a Rakesh or a Ramesh or a Mahavir, I mean, just Google that name and you see how many Mahavir Shah do you have in the country. What even if the name lives? And what if you were the first one of the name, but hundreds of others will name their children the same way? I mean, what's in the name? So when you talk about what, this doesn't become the criteria of our life, of our every decision. You ask your kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? They will never say, I want to be happy. Because we have not inculcated those values in the mind of our kids, that it's very important at any given cost, even if a promotion is your way and you think that your life is going to be unhappier compared to what it is right now, you should let go of it. Why do you want to pursue it? Even if you have a deal happening, but you think it is at the cost of your values, your sleep, your peace of mind, let go of it. People will go all the way out, commit crimes to get all these three things. But has crime ever got them that peace of mind in the present? Could it give them that security for future? So the sum and substance of these two aspects right now that we are focusing on, what is in it for me, will boil down to the fact that the what of our lives, of our journeys, what do we really want? We know what we want, but we don't know, sorry. We know we want success, but the definition of that success is totally wrong. We know that we want to be happy. A lot of us probably may say, yeah, we know we want to be happy. But again, coming to the point, do you really know what that happiness entails? What is the definition of that happiness? Is happiness riches again? Is happiness feeling loved again? Is happiness feeling surrounded with a lot of things that you had always aspired for? So we come back to the same question once again, that we think we know we want to be happy, but do you really know what happiness is? Whose happiness? Eating good food. How long does that happiness last? Shouldn't that be a criteria of that happiness, that it should be something which also gives you peace of mind? Shouldn't the criteria of that happiness is which will sustain? Isn't it so critical? Because any happiness, somebody would say, I take drugs and I feel happy. How much does that happiness last? Even if that were to be considered happiness in your own language, how much does it last? And were you peaceful? And did it give you that everlasting peace? And only in this life? Because the body, you're not the body. The story lives on. The hero will live on. Your journey will live on. If you're the spirit, you're not dying. And when you're not dying, and when you will live on, how critical and important it is to move and understand out of the sphere of this life, from where your existence began and where is it heading, and how important is the small milestone of this particular life vis-a-vis your actual journey and the destination you are headed to. So we are too myopic. We are looking at things too closely. Everything that matters to us in our life is either related to the body, this momentary perishable body, or it is related to all the things associated with it, which are going to perish with the body. Why can't we rise above? Take a 360-degree, 21,000 feet attitude. Look at it from wholesomely from all the perspectives and then decide our goal. So what? That what needs to be happiness, which is peaceful. That what needs to be happiness, which is everlasting. And that what needs to be, which will actually give me what I really want and not what I think I want. And when you come to that point here, you will understand A, I am the spirit. That's the hero whose journey you're following. B, my hero needs to be happy. That everlasting happiness. The spirit needs to be happy. Now, isn't it so commonsensical that for you to get to me, the hero, get that happiness which I desire, and that's my what, then wouldn't it be but natural that you will get it through the spiritual studies? Because you need to understand what are your real needs. What does the soul need? The soul needs food. What does the soul need? Or the soul needs to be peaceful. Soul needs anger. It needs anguish. It needs ego. What does the soul need? It needs greed. What does the soul need? And what are you feeding the soul? All the time. So we need to understand who I am. What are my weaknesses? Another very important aspect. What is pulling me down? What can be my cancer? What can be the rust of this iron, which will, make it hollow? Maybe I am capable of that anger or greed. But is that truly my nature? Truly my success criteria? Will that define my happiness? Raise one hand who feels that he feels happier when he is angry. No. Talk about love for that matter. Another very big notion that we live with. Love. Love is God. Love. Love is peaceful. Love. Love is being happy. Being loved. To love. Think about it. Can love by itself exist? Can only love exist without hatred? Say you love your child, okay? I'll talk about the love which, which is very selfless, where you feel that, it's very pure. You love your child. And if somebody is a threat to your child, wouldn't you start hating that person? The other side of the coin of love, of attachment, is hatred. There can never be pure love. If you love your country, you will hate people who are a threat to your country. So love and hatred go hand in hand. If you don't want hatred, you will have to get rid of love as well. Where is peace in love? The more you are attached to somebody, the more insecure you get, the more concerned you get, the more anxious you get. So these are the things which the spiritual studies will deal with. These emotions that we mistake for happiness, these concepts that we feel are my journey and will enrich my journey, they are actually eating into your journey. You have no journey. You have a journey of misery. Rather, my hero is going to the dooms. I am going to the dooms. Why? Because I really don't know what I want. And I don't know the real form of what I want. So it would be so commonsensical if I were to tell a person in this world that, hey, listen, you're very hungry, right? Say, yeah, I am very hungry. And I'd show him that, okay, this is the map. Follow this road and you will get all that you want to eat. Will he ever ask me, what is in it for me? And even if he's asking that, either he's not hungry, or he doesn't know what food is, or he's totally stupid. So I am the spirit. What I want is happiness. Spiritual studies is telling me who I am and how do I get to my happiness. And still I'm asking, what is in it for me? In fact, you know what? We have a pyramid, right? At the bottom of the pyramid, you have everybody who are grappling with the problems of today, of the moment, of food, of water, of shelter. They can't look beyond. Why? Because they have no time to look beyond. Are you at the bottom of the pyramid? Do you feel you are at the bottom of the pyramid? As you go higher, you get the philosophical people who are thinking about life beyond the basics. So in this human life, if we keep focusing on only the education, the wealth, the objectives, the goals of this particular life, we will live, consume, and die with all that you have earned, and everything that you have earned will perish with this life, and you will start your chapter afresh. Have you ever done a business where you spend all that you earn and you take home nothing? How sensible it is to do a business like that? I see a few businessmen here. Would you do that business? In fact, rather, we are doing a business where we spend more than we earn. Because maybe we came from wherever. I'm sure we have done a lot of punya to be where we are here. But if you look at the ratios of the good and the bad deeds that we are doing in this life, we are on a decline. We do more pap than punya. So, which sensible person would actually do a business where he will spend more than what he earns? And if he does that, should he even be called a businessman? Does he even know how to do a business? So this life we spend in earning and managing the things which will be utilized in this life. So what? In fact, you have earned some extra pap, some extra bad deeds, some extra, you had moments where you could have been happier probably. But we choose to be unhappy. We choose to spoil it. We choose to distort things around us. Just look at that sometimes. In any given situation, you have two choices. You can choose peace or you can choose conflict. Think about it. Just think about it. Just write it down if you have a piece of paper or a board in front of you. You always have two choices in life. Whether you choose peace or you choose conflict. What do we do in our lives? Every moment, we want to prove ourselves right. We are fine arguing for hours and hours together. Does not make a difference. What was the argument on? A very petty thing. What happened? Even if you won the argument, nothing. You play a game of Ludo. You play a game of Monopoly. And you play a game of cards. And you're arguing and arguing and arguing. Why? Because I was right, you are wrong. You have been a cheater. I'm showing you how petty it is. You shut the game, you shut the board, everything is over. Nobody remembers who won which game. But still, we are ready to fight at every single thing. You play a game of cricket. The ball was right, the ball was wrong. What difference it is going to make? You're playing, even though you're not even playing for the country. Forget that. You're playing in that gully of yours, that street. So what we end up doing in our lives? You have a choice. You can create conflict. You can choose conflict. You can argue. You can fight. You can struggle. Or you can choose peace. Let go. You always have that choice. which choice do you always go for? Think about it. Think about it. No, it's easier said than done. We are so habituated. We live in the moment so much. We get swayed. Why? Because our concepts of basics are not clear. We need to know, what are you living for? The moments of peace, the moments of bliss that you can find in this life are the moments lived. The other moments where you went with the struggle, the conflict, no, it was very natural. It was very, what do you say, intuitive for you to fall in that trap, because you have been used to from past infinite times, because we don't use our brains to be on the right side, because we don't know what is the right side. Two aspects. One is knowing, and second is practicing. It doesn't end with knowing. Why? Because a lot of people know so many things. You know, you shouldn't have sugar, you shouldn't have oil. Just knowing is not enough. When your faith is firm on that concept and you start deliberately focusing on that, you have to start focusing on this. That peace is what I want. You start focusing on this concept that I want bliss. I want to be happy. The moments of happiness which I gift myself in this life are the moments lived. And for that, it is very important, very, very critical. First, going through the systematic spiritual studies to get all your concepts in the right place. Then, at the second level, it is very, very critical and important to continue practicing that. Because what you have earned, all those addictions that you have earned for so long, they need constant hammering to get right. They need change of your perspective altogether. And that change of perspective is not overnight job. It needs constant hammering. And that is what these spiritual studies will take you to. So if you are to ask me, what is in it for me? Why should I pursue the spiritual studies? These are the only studies which are going to address the hero that you are. All the other studies are actually just solving the problem of the moment. They will at max solve the problem of the moment. They will never be ever capable of addressing the hero that you are. Only spiritual studies can give you that insight, and we should all aim very, very strongly, and this should be a resolution, this should be a promise, this should be a gift that we give ourselves, that whatever time is spent, but now I will ensure this life of mine is successful. And that success is happiness. And that happiness is not the momentary one, but the everlasting one. And I will do all that it takes to be on that path. So with this, I think our time is also up, and we would like to end this. One last note, which I would like to leave you on with, that you can only be happy if you are independent, and that happiness is sought independently. So wherever there is dependence on anybody or anything for your happiness, that happiness will never ever be true or everlasting. Why? Because it depends on somebody else. So the spiritual science is going to give me that insight as well, whereby I will realize that independence is the true nature of the spirit, of the soul, of my happiness. And there is an art and science to understanding how you get to that. The science is the knowledge part, the logic part, the art is the practicing part. So with this, we would like to end. There's a lot in store. And this is the most critical thing that any human being, any soul can ever take up for their own good. So with this, we would like to end this lecture. If you have any questions, I would be very happy to take them. If you're allowed to unmute yourself, great. You want to post it on the chat box, you're welcome to do that. We already have announced the series 1, which has been launched last week. now this series will continue next 2 weeks. And just a sec. Yeah, so next week, topic I would like Vijay to announce. And next week, Saturday also, we will meet again. If there are certain questions we can't address today now, I'll be happy to take them up in the coming week. People are pinging me. If you can get my contact number, I think you should talk to Vijay, and that should be the right way to go about things. I'm sure you have some means to contact Vijay. Okay. Somebody is asking, okay, people are doing direct messages. I suggest that you can make it public as well. Sorry, am I audible? One sec. Am I audible? Hello, am I audible? Yeah, the screen is hung for me. It's frozen.
Yeah, but I don't know what we can do now.
Because I can't respond. I can do nothing right now.
Right.